Welcome back to the Stay Hungry podcast. I've got a special guest today. Josh Walters is joining us to talk about changing lanes.
Yeah, that's why I'm
I'll tell
here.
you a funny story about changing lanes in a bit.
Okay.
Very inappropriate. Josh, you've joined us for essentially grown-up work experience.
Yes, that's what I'm doing.
What's brought this on?
I just fancied an experience of something new. I suppose they say a change is as good as a break sometimes.
Yeah.
Been in my job for like 18 years. No plans to really move on. And I happen to know someone who owns a marketing company.
That's me. So, current career then, what do you actually do?
So I work for Network Rail on the railway. My background is in signalling, maintenance and faulting. I currently work in the control centre at Derby. Just sort of, it's all signalling based basically.
What does that mean to the man or woman on the street?
Yeah, it's one of these jobs it gets more boring the more you try and explain it. But basically, we monitor power, signalling, interlocking systems, electrical systems, just everything. So when you hear the train's delayed because of signalling issues, it's normally me looking into it somewhere.
And signalling is like signs and telling the train drivers what to do, and
Yeah, so it's like it's deeper on a deeper level. That is to stop trains from accidentally running into each other.
Yeah.
It's all the safety systems behind there.
yeah, so it's quite important.
Yeah, fairly
'Cause
important.
sometimes when people get very stressed at Codebreak, I say to them, "Look, take a second, it's not life and death."
Yeah,
But in your job, it is.
yeah, it can be, especially in my old job. We had to do, like you hear about like Clapham Junction crashes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's the sort of stuff that you have to fix and don't get it wrong, or stuff
And,
like that
and
can happen.
I guess they're the case studies for doing your job properly.
Correct.
moving
Yeah.
forward. Yeah, totally. Okay. And I mean, people have approached us for work experience who are at school or college, some at university, or asked for an internship.
Yeah.
What made you think, I just want to get a taste of like something different?
I've always had a little bit of an interest in marketing and stuff. That's how we met was through the Gary V stuff, and how I got into Gary V was through marketing stuff,
Yeah.
and that was to do with at the time my brother, he still does, he makes like music and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's not his main job, and I was like helping him sort of get it out there a little bit, and that sort of got me in just like a little taste of it.
Down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. So yeah.
So so for the uninitiated, I know Josh through VFriends, which is an NFT project run by Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary Vaynerchuk is one of the most famous marketers in the world.
Yeah.
Runs one of the biggest marketing agencies in the world, VaynerMedia, amongst other companies and things he's involved in. How did you end up with a VFriends NFT?
Well, I suppose it was a mad time, right? So you get involved in Gary V, and it sort of was quite hype. It was sort of he always says he's not a motivational speaker,
Yeah.
but he is a little bit, or he was a bit more
Yeah.
at the time, right? So when he came out with his project, I was already a little bit into crypto, and this just sounded like something interesting, and it had the added benefit of the conference. Plus, I'm like a collector. I'm a person that collects. I collect Pokemon cards. I collect various different things. So when
Tell us, what are your three main collections? Pokemon cards?
like old video games,
No.
yeah.
Oh, we've opened a can of worms here. What have you got?
So mainly sort of like N64 type.
That's not
stuff.
old.
Well, how old do you want to go? I've got NES. I've got like a.
So my collection's all Master System.
Okay, Master System passed me by. It
It was a hand-me-down from my cousin who was older than me. And
yeah,
I've still got it. It still works.
I've got like the NES, which was my cousin's that I used to play like as a kid. I've
Yeah.
still got that. Like
Yeah,
the
so that
original
would have been
one.
the same era.
Yeah,
Master System became Mega Drive,
yeah.
and NES became SNES.
Mega Drive was like my first console when I was a kid.
What's your favourite Mega Drive game?
I quite like Jungle Strike. You ever played Jungle Strike?
Yeah, I played Desert Strike.
Yeah.
Because that was on Master System.
Yeah. There's also Urban Strike, was pretty good.
Yeah.
And then obviously Sonics, you can't really go wrong with.
Yeah,
Sonics.
Sonic 2 is unbelievable.
Yeah, and Streets of Rage.
Streets of Rage. You still haven't said my favourite though.
that?
There's only one correct answer. Michael Jackson's Moonwalker.
I don't. Was that on Mega Drive? I don't think that was on Mega Drive. Was it?
On the
I know it was on the Master
on
System.
Master System, you're just Michael Jackson. On the Mega Drive version, Bubbles the monkey comes with you.
All right, I didn't know that, but I remember playing that.
The
on my
sinister
friends.
thing about that game is the main aim of the game is to collect children.
Well,
didn't
age well.
You're trying to
didn't age well.
Trying to be so polite. It's so funny. Okay, so retro computer games.
Yep.
Pokemon.
Yep.
What's the third category?
I don't think I really collect it now, but when I was a kid, my granddad sort of got me into collecting coins. I've still got like a lot of coins.
Oh, wicked!
So every now and then, if I see like a shop, I'll get
like historic coins.
Yeah, I've got some fairly old ones.
Not like Euro '96 from the Esso garage.
No, I'm not after all the new 50p's. That
Yeah.
Every couple.
I think like my wife did all the Peter Rabbit ones, expecting to make millions. I was like, the whole country's got those.
Yeah, no, like sort of old from like Queen-Victoria and stuff like that.
Yeah, like a penny black type. That's a stamp, but
Nothing too valuable, but it's amazing really what you can, for not a lot of money, you can get a coin that's like 400 years old, and it's like quite mad that you can have something that's that old.
Dig up Roman coins around here.
Yeah.
Like they have to declare treasure quite frequently around here.
Yeah.
There's like Roxeter, which was the capital of Britain when the Romans were here. It's just there. Like literally just there.
I do have a metal detector. I'll bring it next time.
Do you? How do you feel about the TV show The Detectorists?
It was a very good show.
Nice.
Yeah, very good show.
This is a great podcast. I'm having a great time. No one knows what the fuck I'm talking about, but so I'm really thinking about whether I should tell my changing lanes joke or not.
Well, you can pay the people to take it out.
Yeah, we'll tell it towards the end of the podcast. I think you have to remind me. So basically, you just wanted to get a feel for what another industry might be like, having spent most of your adult life in one.
Yeah.
industry.
I'm always up for like trying something. I mean, just like the V-Friends thing, it was trying something different. One of my friends always says to me, "You get up to some random shit," because like a couple of months ago, I went to like a cat show. I've never been to a cat show.
What, like Crufts for Cats?
Yeah, like Crufts for Cats. Just I saw an advert for it one day and thought, I've never been to a cat show, so that was it. So
Do you like cats?
Not loads. I do have a cat. I think I'd missed Crufts. I think that had gone past. I thought, well, I'm not waiting another year.
Yeah, I'll just go to a cat show. That's ace. That's so good.
Yeah.
No, I think my friends and family are like, are you a rock star or are you an idiot? They can't like decide. Because like one thing I wanted to ask you, when you first walked into the first VCon, which is the conference we're talking about that you got with the NFT.
Yeah.
What? Because I know how I felt when I walked in there. How did you feel when you first walked in?
Well, were you there when it opened?
Yeah, I was in the queue in the freezing cold, ready to go in.
Well, yeah, I just felt scared for my life because everyone just ran in down them steep stairs to try and get the merch. So my first bit was just that. But then you did think, well, bloody hell, I've win a American football stadium here that's just massive, and it's just like for us, it was pretty.
It was the most mental thing.
Yeah, it was mad. Just to think that just wandering around this whole football stadium, which was like air conditioned. Yeah,
you're in a 75,000 seater stadium with roughly 9,000 people.
Yeah,
and as you walked in, the first one they pulled out all the stops, didn't they? Because obviously, they're handing you breakfast as you walk in.
Yeah. Free drinks.
Free drinks. There was like merch everywhere. And it was just like mental. There was constantly a DJ at the first one as well. Yeah. Miss Ninja, I think she was called.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, and she was on the decks and she was just like putting out like one of her better phrases, like classic bangers. So it's just like the energy was like really high for like 2 solid days.
Yeah. Yeah, it was mad. Like you said, there's just parties going on all the time. I did feel like, well, it was definitely worth the price of the
on its own.
The NFT.
Yeah, and like, so you had a very different experience to me. So you you knew some of them before actually, but you knew a fair few holders from the UK before you went.
Yep.
And then hung out with them whilst you were there.
Yep.
I knew no one. And came home still knowing no one.
Yeah, that's a bit different. Yeah, I didn't know you existed until sometime
Yeah,
between the
and I did
second and
bump
third
into
one.
people from the UK there and said hello, and they were like, "Hi." And that was it. Oh,
It's a bit strange to be friends thing because there was like a core group of people which I think you just had to be in the Discord a lot to
yeah.
get.
Do you know my issue? I didn't know what Discord was.
Yeah, that's literally it. There was people in there fishing everybody out that if they saw anybody mention something.
Yeah, I just was like, I knew what Discord was. That's not, but I was like, this is for geeks. I'm a geek, but I'm not this geeky.
I,
Can't do it.
I didn't have it before, but I was like, okay, if I'm going to a conference, I need to know people. And I went in and was like, hello, I'm from the UK. Where's the UK like people? And they were like, right over here. So that like sorted me out then.
Yeah,
Once I was in, I basically never went in that Discord again.
yeah. I can't think. I've like the only one I go in is the official V Friends one for the announcements. Sometime to try and like get a bit of alpha before they publish the article or whatever. But it doesn't. They don't really do that anymore. Like now they publish it properly and announcements are done properly. But it used to be back in the day that like
Yeah,
Gary would jump in the chat and give something away, and then
yeah,
rumors would be rife that we're all going to get a Mercedes.
yeah. For a minute, I used to go in for the competitions, but I don't think their standards for competition guidelines
No,
are quite.
no, no, no. You know, like you could compete to speak on stage at this third one,
All right.
and you had to put in your application and like. I've got a speaking portfolio. So I must have a fairly high chance here because I've got a lot of footage of me speaking on stages. I've got a talk.
Yeah, yeah. Podcast.
I've got a podcast. Yeah, I was like, oh, I'm going to be the only UK person on stage at VCon. This will be sick. And then one of the moderators got picked to speak, who I'm fairly sure didn't even apply. And that would be my description of how they run competitions in the VFriends world.
Yeah, yeah. It's the V Friends. It's like everybody. I want you to enter this. I want you to enter it. Everyone enters it, and then they just pick. Not really. I would say randomly.
No, it
There's
feels
no
like
number generator
people
there.
with influence that will make a lot of noise,
Yeah,
which is fair. Like, I get why, but it's not a competition. So
yeah. Like a lot of the time, it went to a bit of a sub story, which is fair enough. But they should just say, we're going to pick a deserving person who's had a hard time, and not say we're going to randomly pick.
yeah, almost you want to see the randomizer.
Yeah.
If they say random. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, what's been your biggest takeaway from VFriends, VCon, that world? Because it's like for people that don't know what the hell we're talking about, it started off as an NFT conference, but really it's like a marketing, digital, crypto NFT get together with speakers of influence from celebrities through to like politicians to crypto experts.
Yep.
And then a bunch of random people from all walks of life invading Minnesota, Indianapolis, Los Angeles.
Yeah, like I think the first one was just seeing so many different people and having access to like people. Like there was a party that I was at, and I was chatting to this guy for a while. He was like a Canadian, but he lived in Scotland. Um, and then I was like, "Oh, so what do you do?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm like a digital artist. I sold this thing for like 20 million pounds. And I bought a castle in Scotland, and like people who buy my art can go to the castle." And I was just like, "Oh, right," like just people that you wouldn't bump into, and a lot of the like is it Jesse Itzler?
Yeah, yeah.
Like some like the V Friends people in the UK, we all say we never get tired. And
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
all this
How do you
sort of stuff.
feel?
Yeah. So some of those sort of
Didn't
takeaways.
answer the question.
How do I feel?
Yeah. How do you feel?
Amazing.
Outstanding.
I knew it was something like that. I do the I don't get tired one.
I never get tired.
But yeah, that and just the amount of different people. Like you think you know loads of different people, don't you? But you don't know like loads of different people.
And like some of the things people do is just fascinating. Like they did this thing at the first one that they've never done since, where the VIP area of the stadium, you could go and chill out there, and like you could like reserve a booth on your phone to like have some downtime. And I was knackered because they're on my own. And it's a lot of like awkward social interactions and trying to figure out how I survive in this environment. And I'm sat like having a glass of water in the chill out zone. This guy sits next to me. Like, "You all right?" "Yeah, I'm all right. Cheers, mate. Thank you." He's like, "Oh yeah, what do you do?" "I run a marketing company." "What about you?" He's like, "I own Gymshark." Like, "Oh, you Ben?" "Yeah, I'm Ben." I'm like, "Oh, nice to meet you." And I'm like sat having like a 30-minute chat with the owner of Gymshark, just like,
Yeah, I met this Canadian guy. Well, I don't really know how we bumped into each other, but we just him and his mate. I think his mate was releasing like music NFTs, so that's how we got chatting.
yeah,
And then he was like, "Oh yeah, I was like the biggest like property development YouTuber in Canada. Like when he was dead young. Then he just bought all these properties, sold them all, and he's like just bought a massive bit of land in Canada, made like a commune on it. He's like, I've just built like I don't know, like 10 lodges, and I just invite people I like to come live there. And there's just a lake, and we've just got we just like sit around, and I just pay for everything.
oh God,
I was like, "Oh right, that's a different."
yeah, yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, if you're in Canada, let me know. You
I'll give you a lodge.
yeah, come to the lodges." Sounds a bit culty, but
Yeah. By the
yeah,
way, you have to sleep with me.
yeah, I didn't get to that.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah, yeah. He's like, and I've got a dungeon.
yeah,
Nobody ever leaves.
true. Yeah, to
Yeah.
be fair, I don't think you'd.
There's a lot of pigs, and we feed them human flesh. Okay, so back to where we are now. So you met me, I think, proper. Well, you loosely met me at a basketball game in London,
Yeah,
where Gary had given us tickets to sit courtside at basketball with Ice Cube,
yes,
and we ended up at a party with Ice Cube afterwards.
yeah, which all sounds like a fever dream, doesn't it?
To the point where your WhatsApp picture is you and Ice Cube.
Yes, that's it. No one could deny that I've met Ice Cube.
A lad that works for Network Rail that lives in Nottingham with Ice Cube.
Yeah, like all my.
Straight out of Nottingham.
I think I
That
didn't
was my
really
best
like.
joke.
I don't think I don't think I really told anybody that I was going to that game, and then I just posted a picture of just and like say change my WhatsApp picture to me and asking people were just like blown away, like, how did this happen? Where did you,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
did you meet him? I was just like, oh,
Well,
yeah.
like the staff we employ here are quite young, and I have to explain to them how famous Ice Cube is
Yeah,
because it's like, he's not Taylor Swift or whatever in their
yeah,
eyes.
yeah,
I'm like, Ice Cube is like one of through the 90s and early noughties was one of the most famous people in the world.
yeah. Does good films as well.
um, but like I remember when he obviously he was in NWA and
Yep.
then he when he went solo he toured with like Limp Bizkit and Kid Rock and stuff like that. Like it was like he was massive.
Yeah, he'll be one of the famous. Just because being in NWA, he'll just always be famous.
Yeah. If you survived it, you're famous.
Yeah,
Like,
just a history into it, basically.
yeah, exactly that. And like now he's got his own basketball company, blah blah blah. So yeah, so we loosely met at that, said hello, but never really got to. And then I think the first time I ever got to spend any proper time with you was the third VCon.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I was like, oh, Joel, yeah, because I think Josh, another Josh, he like invited me to like to go to an Airbnb with you or something because I was going to be staying with him. And I
Yeah,
was like, oh, I don't really know those people.
in San Diego because
yeah,
we went
yeah.
to San Diego afterwards. Yeah,
I was like, I don't know anyone, so I'm like, oh, no, I'm all right, thanks. No, I probably should have done
you
it.
regret that decision. Yeah, that's a whole nother story. San Diego was incredible, but can't tell half the stories. So
I wasn't there.
yeah, it's not your fault. Because I already knew Josh from VCon 2 and Athena and a few other people. Athena's been on this podcast. And I think like you and I got on probably quite like-minded, I'd say, and like
Yeah,
the way we talk to each other, we weren't like neither of us. A lot of people in that world are like overawed by Gary.
yeah,
They're almost like praying at the Church of Gary. And there's quite a few people in that world that are like hard crypto people as well.
yeah.
And you and I are neither of those things.
No, I didn't even go see Gary at this one. Like, I didn't queue up.
You weren't bothered.
No, I was like, I've seen him a few times now. Like,
Yeah, I mean, every time I've had the chance, I have. But I always feel like because it's an opportunity to tell him I'm grateful about something,
yeah,
I try not to ask anything of him. But being in that queue is disgusting because everyone in the queue is planning how to get money out of Gary.
yeah. The first Free Friends one, it was like people pushing it front, and like it was a bit. It was like the more I stayed in that queue, it was like the less I liked Free Friends.
Did you queue in on the field day at the
Yeah,
first
the
one?
field,
Yeah, I
yeah.
gave up. I
Did you?
queued for 4 hours. Got pushed in front of that many times
Yeah.
that I was like, it could be fucking Michael Jordan for all I care. Like I'm not queuing.
Yeah, to say it's supposed to be like good vibes in this community all the time, it was a bit cutthroat.
Yeah. I was like, and to be fair, the vibe at the next two VCons was friendlier because all the people who wanted to just do it once and never do it again never came again. Like all the hardcores.
Yeah, when the bottom dropped out of the market, people.
Yeah, it culls a lot of the greedy ones. Yeah, like because I bought mine for access to the conference.
Yeah.
So when it lost value, it didn't lose value to me.
Yeah, I was quite lucky as well because I already had like a bit of Ethereum before the price went up. So when it went up and I bought it, it was like not the same. Like although I bought it straight away as well, so the price was lower. I didn't feel like a lot of money to
As
lose.
in, like, yeah, because I bought my Ethereum the day I bought my token.
Yeah,
So it cost me $3,000 because I got a rare one. I couldn't get a nice one, but they were about $1,000 at mint if you bought your Ethereum that day. But there would have been people who'd bought their Ethereum 6 months before who essentially bought that NFT for about 200 quid.
yeah. Like I think I managed to. I think I had Ethereum left over that I sold and almost made it like not well, like didn't cost me anything if you count
You
it
were
off.
clear on it, yeah.
Yeah, so although I wish I sold it later on, I sort of don't have any regrets for it and it doesn't like haunt me.
Yeah, yeah. The only expense was getting there, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so roll forward. When you decided you were going to ask me if you could do work experience here?
Yep.
Like that's an odd question to ask someone. Like,
Yep.
what was like? Were you like, he's going to tell me to fuck off? Like,
No, I don't really think like that. I just thought, oh, I'm just gonna ask, and if you say no, you just say no. So cheers anyway. If you change your mind, let me know.
Yeah.
No, I thought you'd probably say it because I thought you'd probably be that surprised that you'd be like, "What's Josh doing messaging me about work experience? He works on the bloody railway."
I quite liked it. I love it when people do stuff like that. You know, like a bit like going to a cat show or something where someone just like, oh, I'm curious about that. I'm gonna do it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care what other people think. Like, this is for me.
Yeah, no, I've never been that bothered by like what other people think. I think I'm not really that outrageous anyway. It's not like I've got like.
Yeah, but like like politely, you're an interesting character because you're sort of like, you've got a good career. You play like D&D.
Yeah.
You collect Pokemon. You're into football. Like these are like you don't fit any stereotypes. You're all over the shop.
Yeah, I think I've always been able to connect with people quite easily. So I've always had like a lot of different group of friends,
Yeah.
and I've always kept up with friends quite well. Like a lot of people, like if somebody doesn't message them once, they basically just write them off as dead, don't they? And just never, that's it all again.
Yeah.
Like I've got no problem in like reaching out to someone I hadn't spoke to in like 3 years and say like, fancy going like for a drink or get lunch or something like that. And then
they can only say no, I suppose.
well, yeah, it's like you're already not speaking to them, right?
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Okay, so you've been here a couple of days now.
Yep.
What's been your first impressions?
It's been good.
Yeah?
Professional Joel. I mean, I've only seen you outside of
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, it's been interesting. It's like
Normally he's always making dick jokes, but it's been a single dick joke.
no, it's been good. It's I don't really know what I was expecting,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't know how to say like, oh, it's different to what I expected because I didn't have a clue what to expect.
Yeah.
But like the team meeting was good yesterday, so I get to see sort of like your future plans and how you actually look at the business because like outside of it, I just think, oh, marketing. They just sit around and just say, right, marketing, let's go. Like, so you know, you're actually thinking about the business as well moving forward, and then like development of your new staff and sort of all that sort of stuff. Obviously, marketing as well.
Yeah, or like I'm like the reason I asked you to do this podcast is very rarely do people listening or potential customers get to see behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And like yesterday, for example, you got to sit in our monthly team meeting, so you kind of know what the business development plan is, you know what the staff development plan is, you know the areas that we're going to utilise to improve the service for the customers.
Yep.
Like, how's that been, like, as a fly on the wall, seeing what goes on?
It's been interesting because obviously I work in like a massive, almost, it's not quite a nationalized company, but almost like a nationalized company. So I know what like some of our bosses do and like with development and things like that, and it's obviously like chalk and cheese, completely different.
Because we're very agile because we're small and
you're obviously looking to develop people. Where I think sometimes that's like back of mind in a big company.
Well, I guess like in a big company, they need people to come in and do the job they're paid to do.
Yeah.
And make sure all the boxes are ticked. Where here, I need people to do the job they need to do with one eye on the job that they want to do.
Yeah, I suppose so. Like if you want to grow the company, you need to be doing that. Where in like a role like mine, like you have to do sometimes quite a lot of training to get to a certain level so that you can do that job well. Because like say it's like a safety thing sometimes.
Yeah,
so you can't really be thinking about what you're doing next. You need to be thinking about what you're doing now.
Like I don't like our team probably don't appreciate that they are given the opportunity to expand their horizons quickly because the consequences are quite low here. Like as long as we've got all of that, like protecting clients, ad budget, looking after clients properly. Whereas like if you do signaling wrong, there could be a train crash.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, fair. Okay. And then like what kind of things have you been working on since you've been here?
I've been looking at AI and chat GPT projects. That's been interesting. So get my head around that. Athena, working on your on paper festival.
Listening,
If you could send those questions back, please. So
like landing pages, websites, ticketing systems, ads, client research, customer research, using AI to help with that.
Yep.
Like, there's actually a lot of thought that goes into just getting the basics done.
Yeah, everybody's very busy here. I can see Martha being very busy.
Martha is busy as hell. Yeah, she's looking for. So the new manager starts on Monday, and I think she's excited for him to get here.
Yeah.
Right, I've got two final questions that I ask every guest.
Okay.
Question number one: what's your favourite film and why?
Martha told me to say I don't like films, so that you'd say what?
Go fuck yourself. Get off my podcast.
I do find that a hard one to answer.
I bet Martha said either say I don't like films or say Karate Kid. Both of them will piss him off.
She didn't say the Karate Kid one. I
do like Karate Kid. It's just that every time there's like a song on Alexa, I'm like, oh Martha, do you know this song? Because it's like pre-2010 or something.
Yeah.
So, is it from Karate Kid?
I didn't know that. I nearly said Last Samurai because I think I do like Last Samurai, and I think I've got like a standee from there from when it came out.
What?
You know, like when you sell the DVDs and stuff like that. Obviously, back in time when they still sold DVDs. I used to work in a shop at that time, so I like when they finished selling them all, I got it in my attic. I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Of like Tom Cruise.
Yeah. So it's not the best.
Not Billy Connolly.
No. Yeah, he isn't that, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I also like Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Tremendous film.
Yeah.
No one's ever said that. Someone has said Last Samurai.
Yeah.
Monty Python and the Holy Grail is a film that me and my brother watched on repeat as kids.
Yeah, there was loads of in-jokes with me and one of my friends. We like literally would just call each other like Tim the Enchanter and Roger the Shrubber sort of thing.
The Knights That Say Knee.
Yeah, and why? I guess it was like one of the most ridiculous films, and I watched it probably too young to be watching that film.
Yeah, me too. And it was almost like watching a cartoon then, because all the silliness was just funny. And then when you watch it as an adult, you realise it's like parody and like they're actually talking about politics and
so you can like rewatch it as well. Like I think it's a film that you can rewatch, and it definitely sort of makes you. But I know that Monty Python, it got to a bit where people would just say, "I like Monty Python" to seem cool or something. But like it is a very.
But a lot of people that like Monty Python like Life of Brian. If you ask them about the films, where Holy Grail for me. It just ticks all the boxes. It's like, it's just so silly and so funny.
Yeah, like I'm going off topic a bit, but you know, in Nottingham they've got Warhammer World. So like when they have people have Warhammer, it was invented in Nottingham, and there's like the museums in Nottingham. Now it's like big and professional. But when I was like a kid, one of my uncles was into it, and we went to this museum, and it was like they'd made it sort of shoddily themselves, and they'd made their own like Monty Python scene with the holy hand grenade, like
Oh,
like for it.
amazing.
Yeah, so like everybody has some like little references
Yeah, yeah. And like when I was a kid, I used to play Worms, the
oh
game,
yeah, yeah.
and the holy hand grenade was one of the weapons on Worms.
Also, I think from Nottingham, the Team 17, the company that
That
made it. I
might
think.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's Lorna worked there for a bit.
Oh, yeah, that's your other half.
Yep.
Shout out.
Shout out to Lorna.
Okay, final question. What's the best mistake you've ever made?
Probably not selling my V Friends things.
Oh, really?
Yeah, everything on paper said I should have sold them.
From a financial perspective.
Yeah, I probably.
So, how much was it worth at its peak?
I'm not even sure now. What they? I got the less value, well, the common ones.
Yeah.
Were they like 40,000 each, 30,000 each?
Yeah, mine went to 157.
Yeah, so if they were 40,000 each, I got two, so I probably could have paid my house off.
Yeah, I know. People say to me now because like I paid $3,000 for mine, and pretty much the day I landed in Minneapolis, it was worth $157,000, and 2 days later it had like crashed back to three, and but like I remember I was actually in a business mastermind, and there was another person in there that had a VFriend.
Yeah.
He was the guy running the mastermind actually, and he brought it up, and no one in the room knew what NFTs were, what we were talking about at all. It was like 3 years ago, people didn't know. And he got OpenSea up, and I didn't know what OpenSea was.
All right.
So I just owned mine and had not done anything at all. So he got OpenSea up. He's like, "Oh, you can see what it's worth right now and what the same ones are selling for."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, right, I'll have a look." And at that point, it was 112, and I was sat in a room full of people. At that stage, I'd never had any money like that ever.
Yeah.
And I was like, I sort of like felt sick.
Yeah.
It's just like, that is a phenomenal amount of money.
Yeah, like I did at the time. I worked still on signaling, but I worked outside doing the faulting and maintenance. So like the people were there, so like people who used to work in the pit and stuff like that. And then they got jobs on the railway and moved up and whatever. And when I first got it, I thought it was like quite funny. I'd be like, "Look, I've just paid like $1,000 for this," and it's like a little cartoon picture of a gnome and another one of a fish. And they were like, "Why would you do that?" And then it went up to like, it doubled in price, like 3,000. And I was like, "Well, yeah." And they were like, "Sell it, sell it." And I was like, "Ah, wait." Then it was like 9,000. And then they were like, "Sell it, come on." And I was like, "Ah, well, I'll hang on for a bit longer." And then like it got to it was just so stupid. And everyone was like just looking at me like, "You're an idiot." And then obviously I was an idiot because I didn't sell it.
Well, in my defense, I've only got one, and I really wanted to go to the conference.
Yeah.
You had two, and you kept both.
Yeah. It was a weird one. I don't know why I didn't sell it.
It could be the right
I
decision.
think I had like a number
It could still
in my
be the
head.
right decision.
I had a number in my head. I was like, "Oh, when it gets to this number, I'm just going to sell them." And it just didn't quite hit that. And
I had to have that conversation with Hannah.
Did you?
Because I had to tell her the truth, because it was...
Oh, well, it was that expensive and then it went down?
Well, it hadn't gone down at this point when we had this conversation. And she asked me, "What's the sell number?"
Yeah.
And I was like... So we agreed that if it got to $250,000...
Yeah.
Because mine was at like 112-ish. So we agreed if it got to $250,000, I had to
sell it.
Like, even if I got loads of clients going to this conference for 3 years in a row, she was like,
"That's not worth it."
"Yeah, that's our house paid off and some." Like,
yeah. I've had this discussion with people before, and people do it with stocks and shares, and I suppose that's why crypto is such a big thing. Is like, if you said to somebody, "I can double your money for you," everyone would say, "Oh yeah, thanks." But if somebody invests in something and it doubles, they're like, "Well, is that enough? I'd rather it go like," especially crypto. Like they don't want it to double; they want it to like 100x. Like
there's that, and I got to be honest with the NFT, and people listening might judge me on this, but the reason I bought it was because I thought it gave me access to Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yeah.
Which in my world, marketing is a big deal.
Yeah.
it gave me access to people I'd never otherwise be able to talk about, and it changed my horizons from being a local Shropshire-based business to being an international business.
Yeah.
And so I learned a lot about myself, because when I did find out it was worth a lot of money, that didn't matter to me.
Yeah, I suppose I had the same sort of thing, really. I realised that I didn't, like, maybe money's not everything sort of thing, and you know,
Yeah.
have to. But I just laugh about it. It doesn't really bother me. I think I realised there that it doesn't really bother me that's that. But you know, it's like saying, oh, if I'd only bought the right lottery ticket or something like that. You haven't.
You did.
I didn't cash it in though.
Yeah.
If I lost my winning lottery ticket, maybe I wouldn't be so bothered.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fascinating. If you said to me now, in hindsight, would you swap the experiences you've had over the last 3 years for $150,000? I'd say no.
Yeah, I think I'd be the same. I think I wouldn't, if I had to give up everything that I've done for that money, and that mine wasn't 150, I definitely would have sold 150. What idiot wouldn't sell? But
You
yeah,
wouldn't be here now.
yeah, but I wouldn't have done that. I suppose that's the thing that you don't understand. That at the time, if you did sell, you wouldn't have been able to go to them conferences because you wouldn't be able to buy back in. And then later on, they made the tickets so you could do stuff like that. But
The first one you couldn't.
Yeah.
Although there were people selling their slots,
Right.
when it came round, no one knew that was going to be
yeah.
a thing.
So it's all right saying they would have sold it, but you wouldn't have been able. You can't let's say I'll buy it later on because you would have missed.
And like, for insight to people like, well, what are you talking about? What actually happened was they had to sort of sell access to the conference down the line, otherwise there wouldn't have been anyone there. Because a lot of the people that crashed in the year one were done. They were never coming back to the NFT world ever again.
Yeah, I did wonder what would happen. I thought it'd be quite funny because it would just be pure loyalists, wouldn't it?
Which I think the third one felt like that.
Yeah.
It was like a very hardcore. I mean, still like 3,000 people or something. But it was a hardcore group of people. Like,
Yeah.
It was fun and light and easy. Where the first one was like a stampede.
Yeah. There's a lot of people who maybe like what you said, who wanted that access, wanted to get.
Either access or they'd become very wealthy very quickly with no understanding of what that meant for the rest of their life. And then some of them were literally crying themselves to sleep that weekend because the market crashed.
Yeah, there was a lot of people that I used to hear a lot from, and they don't hear from anymore.
Yeah, very loud on Twitter. Gone.
Gone.
Josh, you've been an epic guest. Thank you
Cheers.
so much for coming on.
Oh, thanks very much.